because the lockdown is going to be open gradually, we need to make sure that there's fuel for people to move. Because at the moment, the demand for fuel was very low because a lot of people were locked down at home. They were not moving. So the refineries
Hallo julle.
have now got to
Julle is allemaal gemute.
and work
Nou toe maak. Terminal 20. Hello, Steve.
I need to send you a different link to the document. I had it linked incorrectly, so.
The last mail you sent.
Yeah, that link is incorrect. So I'm going to send you a new link.
Okay.
Anyway, good morning or good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good morning for you. We are roughly 90-something teachers today.
Oh, well, this this is awesome. This is crazy. I love this.
And it's the grades 4 to 7.
Yep.
Yeah, the document you sent me is Schoology assessment.
Yeah, that's wrong. That
Okay.
was I think I had the wrong thing on my dashboard. So I'm going to change this.
Gebruik julle al die chat funksie?
I will place this in the chat window.
Okay. Why it's not an hyperlink if it's in the chat, or is it a hyperlink at your side? Because it's not a hyperlink on our side.
It's not a hyperlink on mine either. That's probably a setting in your Zoom where you're not. Yeah, it's probably just a setting in the Zoom. I bet it's probably one of the security settings, but that's okay. It's short, so you should be able to grab it, and then I need to edit in the document as well. I can't believe I made that mistake. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. So for you guys, just copy Steve's URL, the HTTPS one, and paste it in your browser, and then it will open the document that Steve shared with us.
Oh yeah, you guys are getting into it. Yeah, very, very excited. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah. Yesterday, I had a webinar with teachers regarding Zoom, and we were at our peak 1,775 teachers. Yeah.
That's amazing. You have so many.
Yeah, that was cool, but it was frightening.
Are you still locked down over there?
Yeah, we are definitely.
We're having the discussions now about do we reopen, what do we do, and so. But I think we're still probably a month or two away from that.
Yeah, I see our government's currently live on Twitter, and I assume they use Twitter for the live feed because they know no one's in South Africa is on Twitter.
On Twitter.
So they are actually giving some extra regulations for our lockdown. So hopefully schools will open up sooner than what we anticipate. But
yeah.
But I think you guys handle it, well, that's just my opinion, where your guys are more like a federal states, where each state has basically its own, can I say, legislations and stuff. Like Trump cannot make a call for all of you, and then all of you have to do it. The governor.
He will try, and he probably should, but because there's some states who haven't done it, and what I think the general feeling is that those states are probably going to have a pretty severe coronavirus outbreak here in the next month. So they're going to try to open up their states, and it's going to be worse. We just they closed our 4th largest meat producer in the United States. It accounts for 25% of our meat products in the stores. They closed that for 2 months because 400 employees tested positive for the coronavirus.
Sure.
So we're probably going to have some. The food has been, we can get it, but there's been shortages and it's hard to find some things. But the meat is going to be scary for folks.
Karina, you must just copy the link and then enter in your browser. If you type it, maybe you can mistype something. So don't type it. Copy the whole thing. Yeah, Melissa, as you copy and paste, yes. There's still 6 more minutes left for the people to join.
Let's see. I'll post that link down there again.
Karina, try die link copy en hom vir jouself WhatsApp. Dus net kyk wat ons kan doen om my link vir jou active te maak. Just for interest's sake, give a thumb on the reactions if you attended yesterday's Zoom webinar as well. Okay, it's quite a few. That's a nice mug.
Yeah, math mug. It is very cold here this morning. So let's see.
What is very cold? And at first
it's below freezing, so it's probably -2, -3 Celsius.
Oh, you speak in Celsius. Nice.
Well, I did. Do you speak Celsius? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. 27 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cold.
Yeah, that's cold. Die link gaan nie werk as jy op die link klik nie. Jy moet hom van agteraf tot voor copy en dan Google toe gaan en hom daar bo in paste. Let me just quickly do a screen share of how you get the tiny URL in your web browser. Okay, so I've copied, I've highlighted Steve's URL and I paste it in my browser, and then I hit enter and boom, it will open. Okay. Steve, how many did you receive emails from outside after your first session?
Oh my goodness, yes. Still receiving them. Yes.
Okay.
Very positive. I'm very thankful, grateful, humbled. It's really yeah, I probably received 25 emails.
Cool. And generally our English not that bad?
I understood all the emails.
Okay.
It was all good.
Yeah, the feedback from my side was also very positive. So thank
I
you.
think this will be better. I think having smaller grade bands will be good for today.
Yeah. Two to 3 minutes left. Let's just give a few more minute or two, because I see we're currently only at 61. Ek sien Salmarie se kinders geniet die Zoom aktiwiteit. Hallo julle. Okay, welcome Yella, welcome everyone. So we are not going to have a lot of chats. I've already seen that a majority of you guys already signed up as members of our Maths Union, and I want to thank you for that. And if you still have any queries about it, please just send me a mail, johan@squilip.co.za. Thank you again, Steve, for your time. I know it's early in the morning there and it's freezing cold, so that is double sacrifice. And we really do appreciate it, and I want to thank you. And our teachers really do appreciate it as well. I think the majority of the teachers who send me mails didn't want to send you a mail because of maybe their English. So I just want to send over their thanks to you. So thank you again. So I'm just going to hand the floor to you. Remember to put him on speaker view so that his face will be like visible. Thank you, Steve. The floor is yours.
So, good morning, or I guess it's good afternoon. It's morning here. How are y'all doing? I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. So, you have access to this document, and we only have 1 hour this morning, and I want to show you a couple of basic things, and have you go through an activity that you could do with your students. So you are all 4, 5, 6, or 7th grade teachers, I believe. That's and so I tried to create some collections for you that are linked in this document that you can use in your classes. We will go through one of those activities today. You will go through them as a student, and then after that, if we need to set up our teacher accounts and get you logged in to teacher.desmos.com, we will. And then I want to show you how you can edit this activity that we're going to do this morning. And that may be about all the time we have, but we will see how it goes. But this document is yours. It'll exist. I also have a video that shows you how to edit the activity that we'll edit together. So you can refer to that later. So what I would like to do, I would love for you, I will post this link in the chat window, but we're going to do just like we did last week. I've got an activity, and as you get into the activity, if you want to just go ahead and I've only allowed you into the first, I've only allowed you into the first slide. So I'm going to post this into the chat. I think you could go to student.desmos.com, or you could copy that link. And I see some folks are in there right now. That is awesome. So you could go to student.desmos.com and type in this link. And you guys are getting it. I see you guys starting to pop in over there on the side screen. That is awesome. Awesome. And once you get in, try to do that first activity that you're in there. Try to do it in as creative a way as you possibly can. Try to do it in like a way that no one else would think of. Oh, this is good, good, good. Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. Is if you want to use the chat window, and I usually ask people to put a Y or a no, like an N. But if you think that you could use this activity with your students, just place a Y in the chat window for me. If you can do that, that would be awesome. And then we're going to look at some of your responses. Thank you. So I'm thinking that with fourth graders, you might start doing fractions. You might start doing fractions. And so I was hoping that this activity would be close enough, but there are other things that I'll let you go through. So first things first, what I'd like to show you is how I can see your screens, but I need to move this down a little bit so it's not in the way. So what I can do is I can click on this icon here, and you can only do one page in this activity. There are 8 pages that I want to give you a chance to go through, but I've made everyone stuck on this first page, so you can't go anywhere else. And what I can do then is I can look at everyone's responses. So I can see everyone's responses on this screen and how they've divided it. And what I can do is I can compare responses of different students. So I can take this one here and I can take a picture of it. And I can take this one and take a picture of it. And then we can compare different solutions. Oh, I can take a screenshot of that one. And what you can do with your students is you can take those pictures of all the student work and you can organize them, and then I can share them to the group and we can talk about those different pictures and how different people did those. And this is called the Snapshot feature. So you can compare student results. But those are the 3 that I've seen. Oh, I will put the code in there for you. Yes, I'll put the code in there for you again. The code itself is M77U6A. And here is a link if you want the link. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So let me go back to the summary. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you a chance to work through this activity. And then I want to show you how you can edit this activity and change the fractions. So instead of this shape, I could show you how to change that shape to something else. Or instead of a denominator of being 5, we could change the denominator to 7 or something else. So I'm going to stop the pacing, and I will give you guys, say, 5 minutes or so to kind of work through this activity. Don't be in a rush. So in the upper right corner of your screen, there should be a little next button that you can hit. And some of you have gone to the next page. And just keep moving on, and I'll give you guys a chance to kind of play with this. Oh, yeah. Oh, that is wonderful. Look at this. Oh. Oh my goodness gracious, you guys are so creative. What's the other one? I am seeing some awesome shadings, and I'll share I will share these are really, 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 really creative. So I'm going to pause this activity in 5 seconds. And if I can have your attention on my screen that I'm sharing, that would be awesome. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, so now your screen is probably green. It says activity paused. So as you were working, I was going through these first 3 pages and looking at your responses. And I wanted to share some of these responses with you. And so this is what I might do with my students in remote learning. So while you were working, I shared those. But here's, I thought these were pretty creative. You had to shade 1/4. And so I saw this one on the left originally, but didn't understand it until I saw this one on the right. And then the one on the left made sense. So they divided this into 5 smaller squares and each of those into 4 smaller squares and shaded one of each of those. So this made sense. That was a very, very creative solution. And here were 2 other ways that I think I know where this person was going, or both these people. And I think that works, and I think I know where that person was going. Be it super, super creative, super creative. Now, this was the equilateral triangle, where you had to shade 1/4 of the triangle. Most of the people, as I looked at your responses, shaded yours like this. However, some of you did things differently. So I kind of like this was the second most common one on the left-hand side, divide the base into 4 parts. But I also liked this one as well on the right-hand side. And then these 2 were kind of along the same ideas, but this made me, I started to think about these 2. I like this one on the left was super creative. I would not have thought of that. I think I probably would have thought of one of those first 2. And then on the last one, the last shading one, almost everyone had one of these 4 shapes, either shading it vertically into 4ths, or horizontally into 4ths, or vertically, or they did this picture. or they did one like this or one like this. Almost everyone did one of those. So perfect. Okay. I am going to unpause the activity. If you want to keep working through it, I'll give you about 5 more minutes to kind of work through this. Yeah, I'll give you about 5 more minutes to kind of work through this. And you do not have to do every activity if you don't want to. And if you have, yeah. Yes, dragging the blue point. I'm sorry. Danielle asked, how can we change the size of the pen or the eraser? You can't right now. If you would like to erase all of your work, you can click on the little X. I know it's a little late. I missed that. That was almost 8 minutes ago. So you can't change the size of the eraser or the pen, unfortunately. Johan, 4/14. Okay, I'll give that to you. I thought you always talked in percents. Didn't they say that last week, that you always talked in percents? There is there's no way to, well, there's no way easily right now. I mean, you can change it with some code behind the scenes, but no, you cannot change that. Generally, you can't change the pen size or the eraser size right now. And that answer goes to Danielle. Thank you. And there are no questions. Question 8 is the last question, Darren. So question 8 is the last question. So when you get to question 8, you're cool, and we'll talk about these a little bit more. Huh. You can, so after, Karina, after your question, can I edit a mistake at question 8? If you made a mistake, you should be able to go back and change your answer. If there is a, so yes, you can go back and change your answer. It's not submitted or fixed, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm going to give you about maybe 5 more seconds, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop this activity. Most of you are in slide 8. But though I want to kind of explain a little bit of what I like to do next. I do want to share some of your results with you. I did put a couple of things, but I don't think I organized them. I better organize them. So I'll let you continue to play while I organize these. So. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so question 8 is question 8's kind of tricky. So to do question 8, it's the purple point is kind of weird. It kind of just drags along the circumference of the circle. So it's kind of a weird behavior, but and that might be challenging for an older for a younger student. So a 4th or 5th grade student might have trouble with that. But I think that an older student, maybe 6th, 7th, or 8th grader, might do okay with dragging that point. But that's a fine motor skill. So here's some of if you would like to look at my screen, here are some of the things that I were interesting to me. So I will explain this to you. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. And that's from Jerry, will you please explain the teacher's side of this activity? I will. So what I'm doing right now is I've taken screenshots of student work that are allowing me to compare results. And so this is from the slide where there were 2 7ths that were shaded. Johan did 4 out of 14. And that's okay. And then this is where they had to shade 2 6ths of the rectangle. And most folks did it this way on the left-hand side, but a few people did it this way, where they shaded 1 on each end. So it's funny. It was funny to me how you shaded non-consecutive, non-adjacent pieces, but no one did that on the circle. So on this circle, everyone shaded 2 slices that were side by side, and most people shaded the ones that were at the top, which I thought was kind of funny. And so the question is, let me explain the teacher side of this activity. So on the teacher side, it kind of looks, and I will unpause it, it kind of looks like a grade book. Oh, I did not mean to do that. In the upper right-hand corner, there are 4 tabs. A summary tab shows me all of students' progress. The dots, each of these dots just means that the student has attempted it, and it doesn't know if it's correct or incorrect. If it was a question that had a correct answer checked off, it would be a little check mark. And if it was wrong, there would be an X. What I can do in the teacher dashboard, so right now there are 61 students in here, and this works really quickly. I can click on any one of these squares, and it takes me to that student's work. So I can see exactly what that student is doing, and I can interact with that student if I want to. From a teacher point of view, I can go up here to this little speech balloon, and I can leave that student feedback. And so Peter will get a message at the top of his screen, a little icon that shows up, showing that he got feedback on his screen. What I can also do is I can take those snapshots, if you will. So when I went to this activity, I looked at all of the, not this one, let me go to this one, I'm sorry. I could see all of the student responses for this screen. And what I looked for was I was looking for different responses. So I saw that these two were different. So I took a snapshot of them. And that allowed me to organize them together and to talk about just those two problems. Here was another one that was slightly different from the other ones that I've seen. And ooh, Petro, nice. I like that. And this is another one. So I kind of, as you guys were working, I was looking through your responses and trying to organize them. All of those pictures that I took are organized under the Snapshot tab. And so by clicking on the snapshots, these are the most recent ones that I took. So I had to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I can drag these out here into the page, and I can compare them. And I can have up to 4 of them on a page. And I'll put Petro's on his own page. And then I can present that to my students. So here are 4 different shadings, but they're all equivalent. And if I can actually click on that student, so I can go right to that student's screen and look further at it if I wanted to. And I can go to the next page, and then we could talk about how this shading is also equivalent. And so those are the snapshots. The teacher tab also lets me go to all of the individual responses, but I can just click on these pages and see the same things. So that is essentially the teacher, that's essentially the teacher dashboard and how that works. And it just takes, you've got to try it. And my suggestion would be, if you want to try it with other teachers in your area, you can look at it that way. You will probably not see it in your activity, but you would see it on my screen. At least I would hope you'd see it on my screen. So that, and so Darren, what we're going to do next is we're going to edit this activity. So we're going to change the, like the denominators. I'll show you how to go in and edit this activity. If you would like to do more, and this is something for Johan, what we can talk about is maybe doing an extended session where we can go a little more in depth into how you might edit or create your own activities. But we're going to edit this activity next, and that's what I'm going to walk you through how to do. So do me a favor. Do me a favor. I will type in the where I'd like you to go. If you will go to teacher.desmos.com. I placed this in the chat window. Teacher.desmos.com. I'm going to go there as well. And then I'm going to pause for a second and make sure we're kind of all in the same place. So maybe in the chat window, if you've gotten to teacher.desmos.com, if you would put a Y in the chat window, so I know that you're at this page. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Can you use Desmos on Teams? I saw that quickly. I don't see why you couldn't, because if you can share a browser window in Teams, that's all I'm doing is sharing a browser window. So I don't see why you couldn't. Okay, thank you. So do me a favor. Next question. In the upper right-hand corner of my screen, I see I see my name. Do you see your name in the upper right-hand corner of the screen? And if you logged in on the student activity, you will see your name. if you see your name, you have a teacher account. So there is one thing we have to do. We did this last week, but I want to go over it again. But if you were on this presentation last week, you've already done this. But I want to make sure that we have all of the features available to us, and that's at Desmos Labs. So if you click on your name in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, that's a sub-menu. And from this sub-menu, select Desmos Labs and click on Desmos Labs. If you were here last week, you have these 4 things checked off, I hope. If not, check off those 4 things and click Save on the bottom. And once you've checked that or done that, place a Y in the chat for me so I know that you've done that, please. You guys are super. You guys are rock stars. Oh my goodness, great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, ready. So let me hover up here again and annotate and clear everything out of there. Perfect. So on the so do me a favor then. In the upper left-hand corner, click on where it says home. So there's a home link up there, and I'm going to click on home. And I want to find where the starter screens are. So I'm going to scroll down the page, staying on the left-hand side, and I'm looking for something that says starter screens. So the starter screens is right here. Right there is where the starter screen is. I'm looking for starter screen. So when you find that, click on it for me. So I click on starter screens, and it takes me to this page that has that has 3 activities. The one I want to do is the one that we just did is called Editable Fraction Tasks. So it's the one at the very bottom. Do me a favor and click on that one at the bottom. So I'm going to click on that, and now my page looks like this. So so if you are at this page now, put a Y or a yes in the chat for me so I know we're kind of there. And if I need to go back over something, I will. Man, you guys are good. You guys are so good. Your feedback is so valuable. Thank you very much. Thank you. So what I want to do is I want to edit this activity, and I want to do that. There are 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of the page. Click on those 3 dots. And in those 3 dots, you want to select copy and edit. So choose copy and edit. And then in the chat window again, place the Y if your screen kind of looks like my screen. Man, you guys are so good. Okay. I think it was Darren that asked this before, I believe, is can you edit your own activities? And so I will show you how to edit some of these. These first 3 might be a little bit tricky. But I will show you how we can make this work. I'm going to close out my annotation toolbar. So this is a, over here on the left-hand side, that is the cross. If you wanted to change the shape, I would suggest not changing the shape, but if you wanted to change the shape, if you click on that object, this is what happens. These numbers in this table on the left-hand side are actually the coordinates of these corners, if you will. And it's hidden, everything is hidden, but if you go to the wrench icon in the upper right-hand corner, those are the graph settings, you can turn all of the axes on. So I can, for example, turn on the x-axis or turn on the y-axis. And I can show the numbers by clicking on the axis numbers. So I can see that these numbers over here in the table are actually the numbers for the different corners on my shape. So if I want to change, for example, that corner right there, instead of it being 1, 1, I could change it to 2, 2 if I wanted to. And so now my shape looks like that. And so now it's going to be slightly different. You can change it. And if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. You can just undo your changes or cancel your changes, which is what I'm going to do, because I'm just going to press cancel for this. But if you make a change, press done. But if you want to undo what you did, or if you don't want to save it, press cancel. I would say your question about wouldn't it be easier to add an image? Yes, I would say yes for that. So Leanne, yes. So if you want to go up here, if you had a really nice image, so for example, if I click on custom image, and I'm going to select, I've been using the, I don't know if you guys will know the Brady Bunch. Do you guys know the Brady Bunch? So I could say shade 1/9 of this square. So you can upload an image. So if you had a figure already, you could change your figure, and you can also change the text. Yes, you can also change the text. And I believe that the folks at Desmos are quite interested in how you guys translate these. I think they would like to see that happen. So do me a favor, in the chat window, if you type in a Y, if you're ready to move on to the next one, I'll show you how to do the next ones. How do you put the numbers in? And where do you enter your own picture? So here was the question. So, so where do I put the numbers in first off? And then where's the picture? So if I wanted to insert a picture, I go to and select my background, and down here is where I can do a custom image. And you had to have an image already there for you. And so I had the Brady Bunch image, and that's what I used. But you could have a picture of some other geometric shape and put it in there, which would make it easier. The other question that was asked was, how do I get the numbers to show on my graph or hide them? So what I did is, instead of choosing a custom image, I used an editable graph. And I select that. And then when I choose the graph, all of the numbers and like the coordinate axes and the grid are in the wrench icon in the upper right-hand corner. And so on this page, I can hide or show the grid. I can hide or show the axes. So there's just the x-axis showing. And I can hide and show the numbers. So let's see, I think that was if I scroll back up in the chat history, I think that was was it 741? Is that Serene? I don't know if I pronounced that name correctly, but how do you put numbers in? I think that was what they might have been talking about there. Oh, awesome, awesome. Okay, so let's move on to I'm going to scroll down to slide number 4. So on slide number 4, put a Y in the chat window if you're at slide number 4 with me. You guys are so good. You guys are so good. I really wish I had more time today. It's so crazy here. So what I would like to do is right now this bar has 7 pieces to it. And again, I know like you could also input your own image, and that's also fine. But if I want to change how this looks, if I click on this icon, over on the left-hand side is where I can change the numerator and the denominator. So if I want my denominator to be 10, I just drag the slider to 10. And I can change my numerator, like what part of it is shaded as well. And if I would like to change, maybe I want more than 10 pieces in my denominator, I can click on this little n number. And instead of 10, I could say 24 pieces. So now I can have up to 24 different pieces, which would probably be a lot for a screen. So again, I just click on that little end number, and I can change that number to however many pieces I want at the most. And so that would be right now at 15. And then my numerator, I can't change the maximum for my numerator because that has to be that. Okay. How do I get the fractions in there? I'm not, so let's see. So from step 1 to get the fractions in here, you mean, I think I know what you're talking about, Leanne. I need to take a gander at this a little bit more. If you, to get to that page on page 4, I just clicked on the graph here. And then this is where I can change my numerator and my denominator. I probably can't get the actual fractions in there. Making this is way beyond, probably not what we want to do if that's what you're thinking of. But I'm not sure if I answered your question, Leanne. So, so do me a favor. Let's go to the next slide, slide number 5. And put a Y if you're at slide number 5. On this page, there are 2 things that you will need to change depending on your fractions. So on the right-hand side, where it says shade in part of the diagram to represent the fraction 2/6. So if you click in that where the fraction is, that is actually a math box that has mathematical type. So maybe instead of 2/6, I want to use 3/9. But that means I need to change my graph so that the figure has 9 spaces in the graph. And so I also then have to edit my graph. And so right now the denominator only goes to 6 or set for 6. So I need to change my denominator to 9 so I can get a different picture for the kids to shade. And then I click on done. So sometimes there are 2 parts to change. You need to change your graph, and you need to change the text or the instructions on the right-hand side. And as someone mentioned before, and I forget who this was in the chat, if you have a picture of fraction bars and fraction pieces, you can put those in here by using this image and uploading an image. So that's not a problem. You don't have to use the graphs if you don't want to. And let's skip down for, if you would go to to the last slide, slide 8. And if you would put a Y in the window when you get to slide 8 for me, that would be awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh man, you guys are so good. Your students must be very lucky to have you all as their teachers. Because here you are, middle of the afternoon where you are, and you're trying to learn about Desmos. So on slide 8, this is the same thing, that there are 2 things that you need to change. You may need to change the instructions over here on the right-hand side. So drag the purple point, but maybe instead of 4 out of 6, I want to change it to 4 out of 9. And then I need to change my pieces in my graph to be 9. And so if you click on the graph, I just need to change my denominator to 9. And then this will work if I preview this for the students. There you go. So now I can change shade 4 out of 9, and then that will work well for the students. But you may need to change 2 things there. So before you leave this activity, here's what you need to do. This is the last thing. Yes, so someone had their hand raised. If you want to put your question down, how do you add the sliding option? Oh my. So, okay, there's 2 questions there. So Danielle, I'm going to answer both of these at one time. Leanne asked, can you only edit on this or not edit? You can add extra slides and you can delete the slides. So for example, if I don't want number 7, I can delete that slide. And so I don't need that. And most of the activities you can edit in Desmos, but not all of them. And now Danielle asked, how do you add the sliding option? So Danielle, you asked, so I will show you. And it's going to also add another slide. So in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little plus sign. And I'm going to click on that plus sign. And just remember, Danielle, you asked. So once I'm here, I've added a new page. My page is in number 7. I'll drag it down to the end, so it's the last slide. And I want to add a graph. And so here's what I'm going to do. This is probably not something you would do in 6th or 7th grade, but I will show you how this works. So when I start with a new slide, where do I get the fractions? So I will answer that question, I think, in a second, but I may need to do that afterwards. So the slider, Danielle, I would go something like this. I would say n. The name of my slider will be n, and I'm just going to give it a number, say 2. And then I want the slider to go from 1 to 20. And I want the slider to go in half increments. And so now this is my slider option. And so I can use my slider to do a lot of different things. So I could go y equals n times x. And so now my slider controls the steepness of that line. So you asked, that's how I get the slider. Where do I get the fractions? So when you start a new, so these fractions here are already there, but I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about, Leanne. So can you duplicate a slide? Yes. If I click on the 3 dots to your slide, I can duplicate the screen. And so that makes a copy of that, which might be what Leanne might be getting to. So when I start with a new slide, where do I get the fractions? Yeah, so those are, I think you might need to duplicate or copy a slide if you'd like to do that. Ah, okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you. So we need to do this first, guys, because I only have about 5 minutes left because I have another meeting here I have to attend. This is the way it is, one meeting after another. So you've made your changes and you've edited your activity. Now we need to kind of save it and get it ready to give to our kids. In the upper right-hand corner, there is a green button that says Next. Click on that green button. In the upper right-hand corner, there's another green button that says Publish. You do not need to change anything on this page. I would leave this page just like it is. You might want to change the name of it, but actually, I can change the name up here, and I could say it's a new editable task if I wanted to, but you can change the name if you want, but what you have to do next is click Publish. And once you click Publish, now this activity is ready to give to your kids. To get this to your kids, you want to create a class code. And that's what I did for you all at the beginning of the class. So I created a class code, and this is what you guys did. Now, this class, you do not need to go to this, but this is an active class that anyone could join. So Darren asked, does this unique code we give to the learners expire? After a while, I think it is 6 months it expires. So, and until once you make changes, what will happen is this activity will exist with this code, but it will not have your changes. If you want to see your changes, you'll need to make a new code. Good question, Darren. Good question. So let me go. So I love you. You can email me at any time. Feel free to email me, and I will put my email down here at the bottom. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask, because I can help, and I'd like to help. So feel free to email me. I do want to, let me go back to my Google Doc that you have the link to. And I need to sign back in again there. Perfect. Yeah. It's not okay. Oh my gosh. It logged me out. You know how that works. So a couple of things in this document that will be useful for you. Yes. As long as so this is from Petro, as long as the other teacher also has a Desmos account, you can add them. And what you can do is up here at the top, there's a small little icon that says share with a co-teacher. If you click on that, you can add co-teachers by adding their email address right there. And that co-teacher, you couldn't edit the slides at the same time, but that teacher could be in the class with you at the same time. So Petro, what you could do is you could share this activity with another grade level teacher. You could add them to your class, they could add you to their class, and you could run one big class together, if that makes sense. So on my on this document, there's a couple of things I want to point your attention to. This YouTube video will show you how to edit the activity. There is something that is called the Desmos Bank that that you can search for activities there. I also created collections for you guys and linked some collections here. So if I'm a grade 6 teacher, if I want to go to these activities, these are fantastic activities. And I think we did mini golf last week, but the balloon float is fantastic. And I know the people at Desmos would love to see if these were getting translated, they would love to see those things and how many have been translated. I know they would love to see that. But so on those documents, I tried to link the different things that might be useful for your grade levels. And I also, if you have a co-teacher that is not here and that needs to kind of get an account, here is where they can go. So you could share these instructions with that teacher and what they need to do to turn on the labs and then how to create a collection.
Cool.
So I'm going to stop sharing. Whew. So any questions? If you have questions in the chat, that'd be awesome. But if not, I need to. Jan, thank you, sir. This has been I mean, you guys, I appreciated all of your help in the chat window.
Steve, thank you for your time. I just realized that the last 5 digits of your Gmail is the first 5 digits of pi.
Correct.
Okay,
That's
so
correct.
now we can remember your email address a little bit easier. So thank you for your time today. I think everyone here learned a lot, and I assume there's already a lot of teachers translating into Afrikaans. So let's not everyone reinvent the wheel, and raise your hand if you would really like to translate it, put it in the chat, and then you can start with that, or send me an email, and then I can maybe help you with that administration, etc. And then we can notify everyone, hey, it has been translated. Here is some good activities. I already saw some people raising their hands, so just send me an email, and then we can make like a small work group. That would be cool. Thanks, Steve.
All right. Bravo, guys. Thank you.
Enjoy your morning. Yes.
I will.
Okay.
See you guys.
Okay. See you next week. Bye. Okay, julle so asseblief, as ons so 3 of 4 van julle eerstes in my inbox, dan maak ons 'n groepie en dan vertaal ons die goedjies saam. Ek weet Via het reeds 'n hand opgesteek. So ek's opgewonde en dan deel ons dit met almal, so dan hoef ons almal nie so hard te werk nie. 'n ander keer is dit weer ons beurt om hard te werk en dan kan ons weer op die ander se rug ry. Okay, goed. So baie dankie julle, waardeer julle tyd en ek sal binnekort weer inligting stuur oor dalk nog 'n opleidingsgeleentheid. So hou maar net julle e-posse dop, hou julle Facebook dop. Ons het nou 'n tydjie wat ons bietjie lekker professioneel ontwikkel. Baie opgewonde. Geniet julle dag. Ek gaan afgaan so oor 2 minute. As jy spesifieke vrae het, kan jy dit in die chat vra en dan sal ek gou so antwoord. Andersins oor 2 minute gaan ek afgaan. Dankie Karen. So ek dink ek het al 3 name. Dit is amper al genoeg. Via Monique, ek weet nie of ek het reg uitspreek nie. En Karen. Sal 'n WhatsApp groep maak, nog een. Baie dankie. Dankie Nadine. Stuur my 'n e-pos en dan maak ek vir ons 'n WhatsApp groep en dan kyk ons wat ons kan doen. Ons kan dalk dit per graad doen selfs. Ek sou ook help vertaal, maar dan moet ons iemand hê wat kan taal versorg daarna ook. Dit gaan 'n bietjie. Ja, Karen, is 'n baie goeie idee. So die groep vertalers gaan help om 'n lys te populate. Dan gaan ons dit aan almal e-pos en sê, hier's 'n paar briljante aktiwiteite, kyk hulle bietjie uit. Hierdie is goed vir graad 4 vir breek, hierdie is goed vir graad 6 vir dit. So ja. Nelmarie, ek gaan gou vir jou daai dokument wat Steve geshare het. Ek gaan dit sommer nou gou in die chat drop, maar ek sal dit ook later ek dink dit is die een. Ja, ek sal dit ook later in 'n e-pos iewers stuur. Maar ek is nou net besig om mooi trek te hou van watter webinar is wanneer. Maar dis al wat ek nou deesdae doen. Ek raak nou beginner vir webinar. En ek my vrou nie, ek nie. Sy skree is nie. Maar ek weet wat binne aangaan. Okay, Michael, daai mens kan baie maklik met PowerPoint diagramme maak en dit inkleer. Dis eintlik heel eenvoudig. Jy gaan in PowerPoint jy draw 'n shape, jy trek die lyntjies in en jy vul die blokkies. Dis eintlik ek gebruik PowerPoint, dan save ek hom as 'n picture. Maar jy kan meer kompleks gaan, maar dis glad nie nodig nie. Dit sal overkill wees. Monique, is daai LOL vir ek spreek jou naam reg uit, maak so of so. Okay, ek spreek hom horrible uit. Ek gaan jou nou unmute. Hoe spreek ek jou naam uit? Jy is ge-unmute?
Monica.
Nee, dit Monica.
Yes.
Okay, dit is verkeerd gespel. Nog geen ander vrae nie? Klein rukkie gee.
Click here to subscribe.
Wat nou weer terugbring, hoor.
Hoe gaan hom gou terugbring? Papa, kom gaan hom terugbring.
We gaan net gaan gebruik. Ja, GeoGebra werk. Dit hang af wat se graad. Laerskool sal ek sê PowerPoint voldoende, hoërskool gaan ons definitief GeoGebra toe gaan. Okay, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Geniet julle donderdag, sien julle binnekort.